And going through an experience website.
We all know that the European market has been particularly hit hard by energy costs. We've seen inflation over the last couple of years as well, really impacts, I guess, profitability. So managing cost and energy efficiency is key. How have you found a solution to keeping on top of this?
You know, I have to say, luckily we're in Switzerland and inflation is not that high as in other places, but we see that high energy costs are here to stay for a certain time. And we found actually with Siemens and Protel, which is our property management system, we found a solution that it's called an E-Link, where the individual room regulation is actually linked to the property management system, and when a guest checks out, the room itself will immediate regulate down to a energy low reset. Exactly, and that actually helps us a lot, because it before humans had to go in and had to reset it like that, we save about 3 to 4 hours of energy cost saving, and we expect, especially right now in summertime, about 20% of energy consumption being saved with that solution.
Now, as part of your digitalization plan, what have you got next?
We are a bit in the consolidation phase, because we have a lot of things now running, and those things we need to dive deeper in that, like M-Files, HotelKit, and even Inspire, and so on. But there's a few things which definitely will with the change of generation, online check-in, mobile door check-in is on the list. We're just looking for a suitable solution. There are a few good ones around, but not as good as we think. The infrastructure is here, so that means we just need a software provider to do that. There we are. And then furthermore, we ask ourselves and scratch our heads a little bit, what will happen with the AI, like ChatGPT? Can we use that somehow, or augmented reality, like the Vision Pro? I guess it's a bit in the future, but that will affect us. I'm sure it will affect us. And if we understand how we can use it, we will again benefit from it, I'm sure. But that is a bit the future. Huh?
And when does it feel right when you find a vendor? What's the key criteria? Would you say yes?
Mostly, if I bring it up to the team, and the team says, you know what, I can see that, because then I'm not by myself, and then I got the entire army in the back of me, and they will bring it alive. So it's mostly like this. If there's an idea, I think it's cool, I invite the guy or the lady. They have a pitch. If the pitch doesn't work, it's out. So it needs to be more than 50% of the team who agrees to continue. Otherwise, it will be a failure.
So you need more of an integrated data approach to report those metrics accurately and consistently and on a timely basis. But that's definitely a trend that we at Ideas see coming through. A lot of our customers are looking to report on profit more than they have done in the past. But even we as a company are challenged in trying to get hold of the data to allow hotels to not only report their profit accurately, but also to manage their pricing as a result of profit optimization.
Yes, I mean the ADR increase compared also to 19, which is now actually not even anymore the real comparison, because last year already was 20% above, let's say in average compared to 19, and now we're doing the industry, not Radisson, right? The industry is doing even better. I believe personally that what we are seeing in the market is something related to the fact that the customers are valuing more, let's say, timing. They're valuing more, the experience. this bleisure new segment that we see more and more often, people working, just traveling for work and maybe also enjoying, the destination for the weekend.
As Dario said, the question really is the expectation of the customer was increased ADRs, and increased ADRs in first instance come as a surplus. So they are to a certain degree purely profit. We have to deduct nowadays the increased salaries, etc., and energy costs. So this is something which goes the other way. But it's definitely a question then with increased ADR of how to maintain the customer expectation. It's not only the point of increasing rates because of certain reasons, can be energy, can be salary increases, labor costs, whatever. But it's then also a question of maintaining the customer expectations and ensure the product is getting an improvement.
So starting from that, in Radisson, we are working with external companies which are helping us to implement, let's say, an F&B revenue management. So we are applying, let's say, revenue management strategy on the F&B, implying management of the menu in the restaurants, of the seats allocation, and we have already actually quite successfully tested and pilot like 5-10 hotels. So this is already now becoming like actually something pretty common, let's say, in Radisson. Not all the hotels at the moment, all the restaurants of the hotels are using these technologies, but they will. And the profit, let's say, in terms of increase in revenue, it's up to 30%, which for the F&B, which we know, by default, it's not the most profitable, let's say, segment ever. It is already quite something, and again, it's just that big chains eventually, can bring something in the market, as of course leaders, and then, maybe of course the others will follow.
We still have a situation where little bits of data sit in pockets here and there in an organization. Food and beverage is not fully merged with the PMS, et cetera, and Dario and Raymond can talk a lot about that. But if the successful deployment and utilization of full profit optimization across the board at a general level is dependent on systems such as Ideas getting access to data. We can achieve amazing things. We can really make profit optimization the gold standard for hotel operations, but it is dependent on us getting access to all of the data that matters.
Well, Ryan, this is exactly the point. How to set up a strategy. This is difficult for most of the independent properties because they don't have, as you said, they don't have a proper revenue manager or department on site. So here it starts, and then talking about the missing, I would say, the missing technology. So they losing out on revenue or in selling opportunities, right? And here it really starts, and was a global representation like Preferred Hotels and Resorts or Preferred Travel Group, better to say, we support the properties to achieve global awareness, and to help them to set up a proper distribution strategy, and help them with alliance partnerships to get access to technology partners, which would be hard to evaluate by their own in the global structure nowadays.
One of the things that we're seeing from an independent hotel perspective is greater trust in technology, and particularly in artificial intelligence and machine learning. And a consequence of that is that they are now able to deploy revenue management systems to automate the tactical pricing decisions for them, which means that they no longer have to spend hours and hours analyzing which price point to apply to the market. They can let that happen in the background and allow them to focus more on the strategy of their business.
In Radisson, especially for revenue management, we have created what is called like the Club of Revenue Management, which is now actually has 5 editions, Madrid, Dubai, Shanghai, New Delhi. So which is just centers dedicated to revenue management. So as you might understand, we are also starting really also from interns. So we give like a clear path, starting as a trainee, where you can go, become a cluster revenue manager, associate director. So of course, we're focusing a lot on young and new generations, and therefore a lot of collaboration with universities.
Knowledge was always key, and it will always key in future. So this is one thing what will stay. Yes, we work also with partners to provide training opportunities, insights to our member hotels in the independent area on additional resource. Yes, we as a company provide trainings as well. We use CRS technology, of course, where we offer training opportunities for member hotels. We offer also revenue manager, revenue optimization trainings as well.
To get the ROI from a revenue management system, you need to ensure that there's the right level of engagement from the user perspective. So it's beholden on us to ensure that our users are equipped with the right skills and understanding to get what they need from the system. And it varies from an independent hotel to a chain. As Dario said, they're very sophisticated at Radisson. They've got these clubs around different parts of the world, really creating these in-house centers of excellence, and we would support that, versus an independent hotel that is going to be rely much more heavily on ad hoc collateral that we support and we develop for our customers.
There's a study by McKinsey. 70% of consumers are more likely to make a repeat purchase if the messaging is tailored to them or designed based on the first party data that you have about them. So really keep that in mind. Yeah, so there's a few ways that we see hoteliers using the data. Some things as simple as a pre-arrival email looking different based on who the guest is. Some of the other points that I think aren't as well thought about are, and this benefits the hotel too, but it should benefit the guest ultimately, is if you have clean data and you have access to your first party data, you should be able to provide the right offers to the right guests. And I'll give you an example. If you have a high spender and you see they're always booking the luxury suite, do you really need to send them the 15% off flash sale? Is that a smart move for them to then think of your brand in a lower way potentially, or for you to lose money on that guest? So it can affect their experience, but also hurt your bottom line if you're doing that kind of marketing. But we think about the CRM. And so we think about how do we ultimately bring all your data from these different sources together, clean it, and allow the hoteliers to take action on it. But if I sort of take that out into the next step of other products hoteliers should be thinking about is, first of all, your PMS is where all this data starts. So hopefully they're thinking about friendly PMS vendors that offer connections to other systems like us and others. And then other places and other systems that allow you to also can grab guest information and first party data and bring it into a system like Revenue.
So I suppose if we're talking purely in numbers, we have generated over €8 million of room revenue directly from our email marketing on Revenate over the past 24 months. Now that is across our entire collection of hotels, but it still is a phenomenal number. And when you break that down per property, it is a massive revenue impact on the business. It may not be our highest revenue generating marketing channel, but it is without doubt our top channel for ROI. Everything that we put into it is, aside from a monthly fee that we pay obviously as part of our partnership with Revenate, it is entirely on us. There's no cost to it. So I suppose that financially is the commercial impact. I suppose the other major commercial impact, which some people find hard to quantify, but for us, it's the goldmine of data that we have untapped via our partnership with Revenate. So we now have over 1 million profiles on our group CRM database. So I suppose that the primary piece that we have focused on and the impact and our strategy with Revenate was to drive an elevated customer experience. So we see thousands of hotels on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok every day. You get served ads by I don't know how many brands off Google or whatever other search engine you prefer to use. But for us, it was really about personalization. And so with Revenate, we have been able to, dig down into our data and not just look at it as an umbrella million personas, but look at the trends and the type of experiences that guests are looking for. I suppose, as with a lot of marketing professionals, come from a background where data and clean data is Bible. But, you know, I suppose working in an industry like hospitality, and no discredit to it, it is more of a traditional industry. People aren't very familiar with data, and we had, I suppose, a mix of colleagues from people who didn't know what CRM stood for. You know, so clean data alone was like level 2, but we really set out from the beginning. So explaining what's the purpose of this, what is CRM, what's the value of simply asking a guest on check-in, can you have their email address? So we broke it down hotel by hotel, and we chose one of our hotel teams as the lucky one to start with, pilot Revinate with. And we took learnings from there down to, you know, what are the basics that people want to understand? And in an extremely busy hotel operation, how much time do they actually have to dedicate to CRM on a daily basis? And literally we decided, right, the learning curve is, well, on check-in, we just want email address, and you do not need to ask for anything else. If you ask for their name and their email address and you hand them their key card, that's job done for us. So we have cleaned up all our data. So next step is definitely continued segmentation. You know, now we can segment guests based on their behaviors, their locations, their family status. And now we've really gotten to a place where it's micro sends outs to really segmented groups of guests with specific offers, specific messaging and content that relates specifically to them and their personality. So that's really key for us. And definitely next step with our partnership with Revinate then also is SMS.
Text messaging is a big part of our evolution. We actually are bringing our phone systems over to Europe, and we'll be doing that towards the end of this year. And that's basically central reservations system that allows people to manage a call center.
Hello, I'm Ryan Haynes, the host of Hotelier's Voice on the podcast Travel Market Life. And we've just launched our search for hoteliers who can share their stories on season 3 of Hotelier's Voice. Do you have a story to share? Have you been developing your tech stack, building out your digitalization strategies, improving the guest experience with digital tools, or just generally focusing on systems and processes internally for how the hotel operations run? We want to hear from you. Please get in contact with us either through this post or on travelmarket.life. Whether it's addressing issues with housekeeping, operations, revenue, commercial, events, MICE, hospitality, food and beverage, we want to hear, especially if there's an element of technology in it. We look forward to hearing from you.
Having a data culture is incredibly important in today's business, ever evolving business, just due to the nature of data that you have at your disposal. So it helps create more informed business decisions instead of making anecdotal business decisions or going with your gut. You have facts to be able to back up what you're trying to propose into your organization. And hopefully that would help impact your bottom line in a positive way and not in a detrimental way. So through the use of our data, or where we are today with our data, we've been able to shift our customer demographic to a more profitable customer. So having that data at our disposal, we're able to see, well, this customer that buys, let's say, via OTA or through a wholesale partner or direct, they may buy ahead of time a lower category unit, but spend more money in our F&B outlets, or they may buy a higher category unit and don't spend at all on the resort. So it's being able to find that right customer demographic that we want at our properties, and to essentially make us more profitable at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, everyone's looking at the same number. So we all have in our head, our EBITDA goal for the year, our overall budget goal for the year. Historically, or in a lot of businesses, we kind of work in silos, and I'm an F&B, I'm only worried about my budget, or I'm only worried about my forecast. I work on the sales side. I'm going to chase business or whatnot. But as long as everyone knows that, this is our overall end goal, And this is where we're trying to get. How can F&B help me? How can sales, by Google ads or Expedia ads, whatever it may be, to that exact customer demographic that you're looking for. We're basically able to connect to those systems down to a transactional level where we can see, if we're looking at a POS side of things, we're able to see at what time did a check open, what time did it close, what menu items were purchased, how many covers. It's very detailed. And then on the PMS side, I can see what accounts are booking or what partners essentially are booking us, where our guests are coming from, how far in advance that they're booking, what's their average length of stay, what room type are they booking, what's the rate, and so forth. So I leverage all that data within a data warehouse. I maintain that data warehouse, and I overlay that with Power BI.
Yeah, and so when you're starting to have those conversations with the vendors, what makes a beautiful, I guess, buying process, or what aspects of it do you really detest and frustrate you?
So essentially, I think it's going through the demo, and God bless salespeople. They will, they will sell you anything that they're passionate about at the end of the day, but. For us, we like to get more into the technical questions, not necessarily the GUI or the user interface, because every system has its pros and its cons. But at the end of the day, we have a lot of systems that connect to the source system, or whatever it may be, and we want to make sure that we're not creating complexities. And if we are creating complexities, we want to make sure that we have defined processes, or that vendor can work with us and developing that, and or just saying that's just something that we can't do.
So speaking to senior management and senior leadership, what advice do you give to them for recruiting a data specialist?
Good question. So in the role of BI or data analytics, you definitely want someone that's hungry and have that curiosity to learn and look for complex challenges that the business may be facing. It may not even necessarily be a data-driven issue, but it could be, this is broken in our company. How can we resolve this? As something in distribution, as an example. So someone that can kind of think outside of the box and maybe be able to look and point towards data and say, the data is telling me this. We can take this information and improve in these areas, and this should be able to increase productivity, increase revenues, or just decrease the amount of time spent on a particular process.